Tony, thank you. A longtime Rhode Island lawmaker has been laid to rest.
A motorcade escorted Rhode Island Senate Majority Whip Maryellen Goodwin on one final ride past the Rhode Island State House, where she served as a state senator since 1987.
12 News reporter Alexandra Leslie joins us live from Providence now with more details on Goodwin's legacy and today's services. Alex?
Although she was a lifelong parishioner of St. Patrick Church, Father Ruggieri said today that her funeral mass was held at St. Augustine Church in Providence because of the large number of family, friend, and colleagues that wanted to honor her. St. Augustine Church was full of Rhode Island state leaders past and present on Friday, honoring one of the state's longest-serving senators, Maryellen Goodwin. The 58-year-old passed away last Saturday after a years-long battle with colon cancer.
We gather here to celebrate a very impressive woman.
For 36 years, Goodwin represented District 1 in the Rhode Island Senate. She also served in Providence's Planning and Development Department for 16 years. The 58-year-old is being remembered as a fearless advocate.
Especially as being a voice for the voiceless, the vulnerable, and the underprivileged.
Outside the Rhode Island State House Friday, state employees watched the senator take one final ride past. Her political legacy includes supporting victims of domestic violence, nursing home safety, and helping to pass legislation bearing her own name, which requires full insurance coverage for preventative colonoscopy screenings. Goodwin's support of that bill predated her own diagnosis.
In speaking with Maryellen about 3 weeks prior to her death, she said so beautifully that the most rewarding of opportunity that she had was taking care of her beloved parents, Patricia and Thomas N. Goodwin. She described that opportunity as humbling. How beautiful to hear her own words describe her love and care for her parents as her most rewarding work.
On Tuesday, the Senate honored Goodwin in lieu of previously scheduled hearings, which were pushed to next week. Flowers were left on her chair in the Senate chamber. Reporting live in Providence, Alexandra Leslie, 12 News.
Friends, family, and colleagues say their final goodbyes to a longtime Rhode Island lawmaker. Senate Majority Whip Maryellen Goodwin was laid to rest following a funeral mass at St. Augustine Church in Providence this morning. 12 News reporter Alexandra Leslie joins us live outside the State House with more details from today's services. Alex?
Before her burial at St. Anne's Cemetery in Cranston, the senator took her final ride past the Rhode Island State House, where she served as a state senator since 1987. A hushed tone fell outside St. Augustine Church as this procession escorted Rhode Island Senate Majority Whip Maryellen Goodwin. Goodwin passed away Saturday morning at the age of 58, we're told surrounded by loved ones in her Smith Hill home.
But she was a neighbor, living her entire life just down the street and serving for over 36 years at the State House as a state senator.
Goodwin's first elected office was as a delegate to the 1986 Constitutional Convention. She represented District 1 in the state Senate since 1987 and most recently served as Senate Majority Whip. Beyond her political career, her generosity has also been highlighted, especially to her constituents in Smith Hill.
Her love for the poor was not solely on the floor of the legislature. In her car and her visor was a steady supply of $1 bills. And she would regularly give out those ones to people on the corners flying signs and seeking alms.
As friends, family, and colleagues have been recounting memories all week long, it's clear Goodwin's legacy will not be forgotten.
Especially as being a voice for the voiceless, the vulnerable, and the underprivileged. Her support of victims of domestic violence, home care and nursing home safety, common sense gun laws, and legislation bearing her own name, the Maryellen Goodwin Colorectal Screening Act, which requires full insurance coverage for preventative colonoscopies and screenings, are all part of her public service legacy.
Now, though she was a lifelong parishioner of St. Patrick Church, Father Ruggieri said that her funeral mass was held at St. Augustine Church to accommodate the large number of people that wanted to attend today. Live in Providence, Alexandra Leslie, 12 News.